Hello there everyone, and welcome back to the next video for the Clone Wars MOC update series. In this episode, I start on the last big final kind of structure in the village, the last building. This is kind of like one of the last phases for this build, is this one last big building. I don't get it done in this episode, but I get a good amount of progress completed on this thing, and if you stick around to the end, I ask for some feedback on a few things, not as much as I usually ask for feedback, but this one, there's just like one or two things in particular that I kind of want to get some feedback on before I go any farther with this building. But yep, pretty exciting episode. So without any further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so here we are, the big last final building that needs to be built for this MOC, and this is a building I've been saving towards the end because I think it's going to be the biggest and probably the most fun to build. So I've been thinking a lot on how exactly to do this building here. You saw in the previous episode I did a little bit of work on this building right here, where I kind of worked on that and got it to a pretty good spot. So this building over here is going to be a little different than that one. I went through and looked at a ton of reference pictures from Stalingrad yet again, and saw some pretty interesting things that I want to try to replicate here. This one is going to be big, fairly big building. What my plan is it's going to be kind of almost completely destroyed, but you're going to have sections where the wall is still there. So in Stalingrad, like, a lot of the stuff just got shelled. Like, the roof came in, you know, from the artillery, all the floors got blown out, but the actual walls are still in the building, and all the glass is blown out and everything like that, but you still see like the remnants of like actual buildings in terms of like the front walls. So this one's going to be pretty much, there's just going to be a bunch of like the walls standing up. So on the left side there, you're going to see the full wall kind of go up a little ways, but there won't be a roof because that'll be blown out, and you won't really see too many floors. My big idea for this one was, if you do see floors, you're going to have like clones shooting at like militia guys for the separatists, like on different levels of floors. So you'll have different combat, like CQB battles going on here. And they'll be shooting at each other on different levels, and then maybe one of the floors is like about to collapse. So like some clones are trying to hold on as the floor kind of goes down, and they're trying not to fall down to the bottom. There's just a lot of cool stuff with figures that I want to do in here. So I have a pretty good idea with some reference pictures. I'm just going to build a few walls. Like, there will be a main wall up there, and then, you know, another one up here, and then maybe more over here will be a little more destroyed. So there won't be that much of a wall. It'll be pretty much destroyed. And then you'll have some floors every once in a while. Otherwise, I'm just going to get to building because it's easier just for me to build and show you guys than it is to sit here and watch and listen to me ramble the whole time. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started, but I think this is going to be a really fun building to build for this series. Alright guys, so I'm on a reference picture right now from Stalingrad, as you can see on screen, and this is kind of what I was thinking for this building. Not like as big as this back one, but I'm thinking kind of like that size right here. So the big thing with these Stalingrad kind of houses during this battle was, like, they were completely bombed out, but as you also can see, like, they're fairly just like rectangle and square. It's like they don't have a bunch of interesting like curves or stuff going on in them. And that's kind of the hard thing with trying to replicate this in Lego, is because sometimes if you just do like a square house, it doesn't look that interesting because there's not any really interesting shapes or anything like that. But a lot of these reference pictures, the buildings are very blocky, you know, and very rectangle shape and square shape. So I have to find a way to replicate that, but also make it look good and not just like a weird blocky building, because that's kind of the hard part that I've been trying to struggle with for, honestly, the entire village. But since a lot of the village is destroyed, I want to go with the building kind of like this, where you've got like kind of one side's completely blown off and destroyed, and then there's still kind of a little bit of a structure left, and then like all the windows are still there, but they're all, like, all the glass broke because it's just been shelled so many times. So I'm kind of going for something like this. This is one of the reference pictures I'm working off of. One thing I do want to add, as you can see, there's no like floors or anything in there, just completely blown out. I want to try to add at least like a floor or two, so we can have clones like running to and from and stuff like that. So that's kind of my idea for what's going down right now. But yeah, just trying to make this look interesting without making it look too blocky. But I want to make it seem like it was a big building, but it got almost completely destroyed. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now. Okay, so I started to work a little bit here, and you can see I started to work on the wall. The main thing I want to show you guys are these window designs. So you can see I used a couple different slopes there to create this interesting shape for a window, kind of making it almost, you know, very interesting shapes and sizes, because I don't want it to just be, you know, a square window. I kind of want to add a little bit of Star Wars flavor and element into it with these windows. So you can see I'm using these slopes, got some cool points and everything like that for the windows. The only somewhat issue is the windows are fairly big. They're almost as big as a normal minifigure, which when you go around in your life, there's windows that are, a little as tall as like a human, right? But most windows, at least kind of from the picture, the windows looked a little smaller, not as like minifig, as big as a minifig. They were a little smaller, but I think I want to make these windows a little bigger. Maybe not this big, but I'm not really too sure yet. So you can see I've got two different options here, a light gray version and a dark gray version. I want to do kind of a similar thing that I did with the very last building that I built, and make it a little bit of a mix with dark gray and light gray. I don't want to make it just primarily any of those colors, but if I'm having dark gray, I want to make it like grouped together, not spread out and random. That's kind of what I want to do again, because I think that looks good for it from a design standpoint. But so as you can see here, this is kind of just a plain, all these bricks. There's no modifies or plates or anything in there. So since the problem here is I built the rest of the village with using like 1x1, 1x2 plates and 1x4 plates, and then like masonry. So I used all sorts of combos for those to give like all the buildings a nice texture. So you can see here, this one's just all flat because it's just bricks, which would probably look fine, except for that's not what I did for the rest of the village. So I kind of need to keep it consistent. So essentially what I'm thinking here is, do like it. The building will primarily, I think, be light gray. So you'll have light gray plates, and then I'll do some pockets of dark gray. I think that tends to look really good. It's a good contrast from the mountain if all the buildings are more of a light gray color palette instead of a dark gray. So then it kind of stands out from the actual mountain itself. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. So essentially, I might go ahead and build the building and just use these windows or a modified version of them. But I should have built this building first because I'm running out of pieces fairly quickly. Like my slopes are kind of almost gone here. All my inverted slopes are pretty much already all used up, and I'm actually running really low on light gray 1x2 plates and 1x1 plates. So this is going to be interesting. This is like the last stretch of parts because like this build has taken up most of my parts. So I think it's stretching it a little bit, but I'm going to go for it anyways. So I'm going to continue to work. I just wanted to show you guys kind of the first prototype design that I went through with actual windows here. But I'm going to go ahead and get back to work. Alright guys, now here's another prototype that I was working on here. I want this side of the building to be kind of the part, if you remember the reference picture. This one's going to be absolutely kind of caved in and destroyed. So this side over here won't be very tall, but this side over here is going to be the tall side. So what I was experimenting with was I thought it'd be cool if, this part over here that was kind of mostly destroyed, we had a bunch of like those separatist aligned militia guys like taking cover behind that portion of the wall, and they were kind of shooting up at like the clones who will be like up in the second level on this side of the building. I thought that'd be a really cool element, and you can see I've got a Rhodian with a rocket launcher, so the idea would be that he shot like one of the floors, and like the floor was starting to collapse, and you've got a bunch of clone troopers trying to not fall off, off the floor, so they're all kind of grabbing each other, trying to hold on while the floor is coming down. I thought that'd be a really cool thing I want to try to add. Don't know if I'll be able to do it because it's going to be a little bit hard, but I'm going to try to do it because I think that'll be really, really cool. But essentially over here, I started messing around with different ways to design a destroyed like part over here. So I'm using a technique that I haven't really used. I kind of messed around with it last episode, but not exactly the same as this. So essentially here you can see I've got a lot of studs like exposed. So you can see there's a lot of 1x1 kind of bricks and stuff exposed, so you only see one stud, and you kind of stack them uneven, like one after the other at different kind of heights and different locations, but still close together, and it gives a kind of cool destroyed look. So this is just the prototype I was messing around with. I was trying to figure out, how to make something look destroyed, because I've done it, in a few other buildings here, but I want to try something a little bit different since this was a bigger building. So instead of plates, it's bricks, so it looks a little bit thicker. So it looks like the building is, was a little better built almost, and yet it still was kind of destroyed. So I kind of wanted it to feel like a bigger and more better built building, even though it was completely destroyed anyways. So I was messing around with some 1x1s and 1x1 bricks and cheese slopes there. So I was kind of messing around. I think I'm going to try to add some more to this design to really make this side look like an absolutely destroyed kind of part of the build, where we've got a bunch of like separatist aligned fighters here going up against the Republic, and they're just kind of hiding in these ruins as the clones have the high ground up over here on this side. and they're kind of shooting down at each other and up at each other. So I thought that'd be really cool. But this was the another design that I just messed around with right now. Alright guys, so I worked on a second wall design here. You just saw one of the previous walls. Here's another one that I just came up with here. You can see I kind of did a similar design with the windows with kind of these slopes and inverted slopes there, but I actually did it a little bit smaller and it's more of like a diamond shape. And I actually think it's kind of cool. I like it so far. And then you can see what I'm doing here with the dark gray and light gray, how I'm doing it kind of in patches. So it's not, you know, completely random, but I kind of am doing the same thing I did with most of the other buildings in the village, where there's like pockets of dark gray mixed in with larger pockets of light gray. So you can kind of get a good mix between all those and stuff like that. So this is a prototype design wall, not entirely final, but the main thing was these window designs. I'm actually a lot happier with these window designs than, let me see if I can, yeah, than this one. I just think this one's a better size compared to this one, which is a little bit too big. Yeah, so that's my second design for windows, so phase 2 here, and I think I'm going to go with phase 2. It also gives off a cool, like, medieval feel. I don't know, just kind of like those shapes always remind me of, like, medieval stuff. And I definitely, like, love, like, medieval buildings, and Lego. I think it's just absolutely amazing. So, every time at Brickworld, like, every time I get back, I always want to build, like, a castle build, because there's so many awesome, like, castle builds at Brickworld. But, anyway, here's the wall design. I also went back in and started to kind of build the back wall here. So I showed these guys a little bit earlier over here, the militia guys over on this side, and I kind of had this little corner still built. But now I went back in and kind of started to build the back portion. Right here you can see a lot of destroyed elements in masonry brick, cheese slopes, 1x1s, all sorts of stuff to really make it seem like it's just been very destroyed all over the place. And as you can see, the more we go this way, the taller it gets, because that's going to connect to the larger wall, which is going to go over on this side. So I kind of mentioned this in the plan. The right side over here is going to be a little more destroyed. And then the farther you go over to this left side, the kind of more intact the building is. So you'll actually have a taller wall over on this side, kind of over here. And I kind of described all that earlier. So as you can see, I was kind of building up to it over on this side as it kind of starts down low and it's kind of starting to build up. That's kind of what I was going for over on that side. So yeah, I just wanted to update you guys on the quick progress I made kind of with all of these more like destroyed elements for the building. Alright guys, so I kind of worked on the front part here and I kind of built it separately, but I've got it standing up right now so you can kind of see what it looks like, but I can kind of move it about like this and pick it up, but I've attached it just so it's easier for me to show you guys what I've been working on here. So as you can see, the last thing I showed you I think was this bottom part down here with just those 3 windows, and then I went ahead and added a second floor up here for another 3 windows because I want this like building to be multi-level, have a few different levels and stuff like that. So this is what I went with here. You can see the similar designs that I stuck with like having the different patches of dark gray mixed in with the primarily light gray building right here, and then I kept the same slopes and everything for those windows. So yeah, this is actually really, really tall. There's a size reference down there with that super metal droid, so it's pretty tall, and it's kind of causing some interesting scaling problems, but I just wanted to show you guys what I came up with here. On the front side, what I might end up doing is taking a little bit off the top up here, or like down in the middle over here, because I think it's definitely a little too tall. You can see the building over there as well for a scale. Back over there, so it's fairly tall here, and I'll show you the inside here. And then here's the inside, so you can see I kind of went in and added like where the floor would be. So we've got like the 2 floors up here and down here, and there's room for the troopers to peek through and shoot like through these little windows right there. So I've got the 2 floors, and this is kind of what I wanted because I want to have like this floor starting to break. You know, maybe a clone's like about to fall off, and they're trying to kind of hold on as the floor's coming down. The only thing I might change here is you can see this floor, like this bottom one, is very, very close to the base plate. So what I might end up doing is just like taking a little bit off the top, right up here, taking a little bit off the top, and then kind of moving everything up so this first floor isn't so close to the actual 16 by 16 plates right there, because I kind of wanted this first floor to be kind of up a ways. So I might move those around a little bit, but this is kind of the inside here. And then I'll probably make these floors a little bigger. Like as you can see, they're kind of small. So those will probably be a little bit bigger when it's all finished, but yeah, this is kind of what the backside's looking like, where clones will be able to kind of peek through and shoot up at the mountain and kind of be a little bit more in cover. So this might be a pretty good spot for the clones to take cover on, except for, the structure isn't entirely stable, so it could come down for those poor clone troopers. And then like down over here, like I mentioned earlier, might have some like militia guys for the separatists kind of shooting up at some of these guys up here. So yeah, this is kind of what we're looking at right here. Thought I'd update you guys here because I spent the last day or so kind of working on this just main wall right here. Now theoretically here, if I didn't change the size of this front wall at all, here's what it kind of looks like with the whole rest of the village. As you can see, it kind of feels a little bit out of place just because of how tall it is, right? So that's kind of that was my worry with this building, is I wanted to make it super tall, but now you can kind of tell, it kind of just feels weird that this building is like, granted it's not finished at all, but just pretend like this front wall is like there, kind of as it is right now. If I were to keep it that way, it's a lot bigger than any of the other buildings, which I don't know, I don't really personally like it that much, because it feels just kind of weird that there's just one random building this tall, but maybe it actually looks kind of cool. I'm really not going to know until I kind of finish the building and I hear back from you guys. But this is kind of, ignore the size of this. It's more of just like the color and like all the different plate levels in the windows. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to go in and change it so it's not as tall, because it's fairly close to the size of the mountain actually, which is, I think, a little bit too tall. So I'll probably go back in and have to shorten it a little bit. But I thought you guys would like to see kind of what the first design was for this building. Alright guys, so unfortunately I think this is going to have to be the end of this update video. If you guys have been following the series for a while, generally in all my update videos I like to get a lot done per video, because sometimes I feel like some update videos on YouTube, sometimes not as much gets done in a single episode, which is definitely understandable, which is why I like to have, like, I take the 2 weeks and kind of try to make sure I film enough and get enough building done that would make it worth a full episode, because each episode I want to have some substantial progress in each episode. So for this episode though, I'm going to have to stop it right here. Essentially, I'm home for a short while here, and while I'm home I have to record at least 3 update videos, because I'm going to be super busy these next few weeks. So I need to get ahead and I need to record 3 videos while I'm here. So that's quite a bit of progress that I have to make in the short amount of time that I'm home for a while. So that's why this episode's going to be a little bit shorter, is because I need to move on to the next 2 videos so that I can get all 3 done, and then I can have enough videos to upload every single week, so I don't miss a week, because I don't like missing a week at all for upload. So I'm kind of doing this so I can make sure I have a video every single week, with the Clone Wars MOC update and then Project Nightfall and then Clone Wars MOC update, that schedule and everything like that. So again, apologies, I'm really sorry to... Seems like I cut this episode short, but I mean, in all honesty, a fairly good amount of progress in this episode. I kind of started, as you can see, the outline of the whole building is kind of already set in place. I added in a few destroyed elements, and then of course I worked on the big wall right there, that front section. So I'm very happy with what I got done in this episode. I'm going to be asking you guys I'm going to be asking for feedback on like the size. So how do you feel about this being a super tall building, or should I make it smaller like the rest of the buildings? So for next episode, what you can expect here is, in terms of like this big wall up front, in terms of this wall right here, what you can expect is I'm going to see what you guys have to say for feedback. And according to whatever feedback I get from you guys, I will either take a little bit of this down and kind of shorten it and make it a little bit smaller. I also will be probably taking this apart to add battle damage. So I'll kind of go back in and just take a few plates out and kind of do some more battle damaged areas so it fits with the rest of the village, which is very kind of destroyed and battle damaged. So I'll go back in on this wall and I'll kind of make it more destroyed, because right now it just looks weird that it's fully built without any battle damage. So don't worry, next episode will be fixing the size of this according to what feedback I get from you guys, and then adding some heavy battle damage to this portion to really make sure it fits with the rest of the village. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you did enjoy. Again, my apologies for there might not have been like as much progress as usual. So again, my apologies for that, but I'm doing the best I can right now, trying to make sure that I'll have a video every single week for you guys to watch. But for this episode, let me know what you think about the size of this building. That's the kind of big main question. How tall should this building be? Should it be tall? Should it be, same height as all the other buildings? Should it be somewhere in between? I'm still open to, all sorts of different sizes that this building could be, depending on what you guys think. So definitely Let me know in the comment section below how tall you think this building should be, because the good thing about doing this right now is I still have a lot of time to hear feedback from you guys before I start to work on this a little bit. So I'll start to work on it, and then I'll kind of see what you guys have to say, and then try to see what happens after that, because I think the size of this building could change depending on what you guys think. So for sure, let me know that in the comment section below, and stay tuned for next week's video, which will be the Project Nightfall episode 4, and we'll be finishing up the Jedi Temple Library for the Phase 1 portion of Project Nightfall. And then the following week, we'll be working on this building once again for Clone Wars MOC Update number 25. So again, lots of exciting stuff coming in the future for this channel. Let me know your feedback in the comment section below, and I hope you guys have a great day, and may the Force be with you always.